Hello and welcome back to Crypto BS. I'm Al and I am solo today. Craig is out of the building and he's doing a little bit of vacationing. It is July the 2nd, so he's kind of bearing down and looking forward to his 4th of July weekend. So I'll hold down the fort today. So we've got several things on the agenda. We'll talk a little bit of big business and more of the traditional sector of the market, as well as what's going on in crypto over the last couple of days, and we'll do an update on our challenge. So let's start with big business and the traditional markets, because for me, I really believe that at this time, we've seen it in previous bear markets, and then this one doesn't seem to be any different, that a lot of the traditional effects of the markets come through and bleed into crypto and can have more so of an effect than even the little shots of good news that we get on specific projects. So I think it's real important to pay attention to this as we move forward and we're looking at what we think the market is going to be doing. The first thing is our leader of the Fed, Jerome Powell, doesn't see a soft landing. He cannot guarantee there's going to be a soft landing in the future for this economy, and I could have told him that, so he should have called me. Secondly, he's said now we understand how much we don't understand about inflation. Jerome, come on, man. Get your crap together. If you print a bunch of money, there's going to be inflation. That means you can't buy as much as you could before. Dude, you got to get it together, man. The CPI numbers, they came out. Of course, they exclude food and energy. The things that we normal people get to see in the market and how it affects us. And that's the biggest problem, is that a lot of the numbers that the Fed looks at, they're trailing numbers. So they're making future decisions on things that are lagging indicators, things that you and I when we go to the grocery store, when we go to the gas station, we see the inflation hitting there. We see how much more things cost. So by the time they figure it out, because they don't live on the same level that we do, by the time they get it and they can look back at their data, the decisions that they're making are wrong. They're just not any good. I got to tell you, we need some people that are smarter than that. And by smarter, I mean they have common sense. So at the end of the day, some of the numbers that have come out there's nothing huge that numbers wise is going to affect the market. The personal income and outlays report showed inflation that measured by personal consumption price, the PCE index, mostly unchanged for May. So there's nothing there. The unemployment claim numbers were pretty much a nothing burger, 2,000 jobs. But again, what they're looking at with these jobs, they're behind the curve with this. By the time what's happening now hits, it's going to be a month or two down the road. It's so important to pay attention to what these jobs look like going forward. Tesla, they're planning to cut 10%. Reef Technology, they're going to cut 5%. Warner Brothers, they're laying off 30% of their sales team. Netflix is going into their second round of cuts so far. And we're looking at 300 people from there, which it's easy to sit back and say, oh, well, 300 is not that much. Well, it is if that's your job. Carvana, they're cutting 2,500. Peloton is down 3,000 since the start of the year. And Exxon is the next one that's coming up. Does that bring anything up for anybody? We've got a gas problem in our country, and Exxon is having to cut jobs. I don't know. Something doesn't smell right with that. Snap Inc., they own Snapchat. They're going to make some cuts. And now that's all well and fine, but what about the crypto industry? You got Coinbase. They're down 1,000 jobs. Crypto.com is down 5%. Oh, I got some things on Crypto.com. Like we talked about last week. Man, never been a big fan. Craig brought up some interesting points, and it turns out that he's probably right. Gemini, they're down 10%. BlockFi, they're reducing 20%. So that's how it's affecting the industry that we're here to talk about, the crypto industry. So we're losing jobs in this as well. The next thing that's coming up is real estate, which is really the last indicator to get struck when we're looking at how the economy is being affected. Compass is going to cut 450. Redfin is down 8% in jobs. JP Morgan is laying off hundreds as well, mainly from their mortgage arm. Better.com has been laying off for a year already, and they've got more to come. So the Fed's job, their job supposedly is to help kind of control our economy and how we're moving forward with this. Understand they can't influence the money supply at this point. They've already pumped all that in there. They can't just suck that out of the market. It can't just go anywhere. So what they're trying to do is influence the demand, and they are driving it down to driving the consumer's demand down for borrowing and spending, because we have to spend it on food, we have to spend it on fuel. It's all those extras. Well, when those extras go away, that's where we're going to start seeing some of the restaurants really start taking some pain. As well, because that's one of the first things that my family started cutting out was going to the restaurants. Now, keep in mind what we put out into the market as consumers. That's only a drop in the bucket. It's when the businesses start trying to cut back and start trying to manage their funds. One of the things they do is cut back on the jobs. They're cutting back on the jobs. Yep, that's going to happen. And like I said, all of that stuff is kind of coming on the way. So when we're looking at what our plan is going forward, and my strategy in our little crypto challenge, I'm not fighting the Fed. It's a rule in the stock market, and it's a rule here. They're trying to cool the economy. They're doing a great job of it. So for me, all in all, there's not a whole lot of positive news that's coming out. We've got a Fed chairman that is just now understanding that he doesn't understand inflation, something that maybe not grade schoolers, but junior high kids should be able to explain to him about how money works. And if he's got any other questions, feel free to give me a call. I'll explain it to him in full. Anyways, so the next thing, let's talk a little bit about these crypto platforms. So as most of you know, Voyager shut down. Now, we kind of saw this coming. We talked a little bit in the last show about those big platforms, the 3AC, Celsius, Voyager, and Babel Finance. Now there's some issues with Genesis Trading. They may be in trouble as well. But specifically with Celsius and Voyager, most of us have been in the industry for a while. We have used or use currently Celsius or Voyager. As a matter of fact, when I started getting some texts and phone calls about Voyager yesterday, I went ahead and passed it on to some of my contacts, and it was already locked up, and they're pretty much burned. So if you got anything on Voyager, you're pretty much screwed. If you got anything on Celsius, you're probably screwed there as well. Both of those they're in pretty deep trouble. But anyway, so Voyager shut down. No withdrawals, no transfers. Now some of you may think, well, what about that? Aren't they publicly traded? Yep, they're publicly traded in Canada. Oh, well, they're FDIC insured, right? Yep, they sure are, but only the U.S. dollar that's on there. So if your money's in Tether or USDC or any other assets, it's gone. Just chalk it up. Your burn is over. Now, this brings me to my next point with Crypto.com, KuCoin, Coinbase, some of these other ones. Are any of these other ones also the big three, really? Are they in trouble? I mean, FTX doesn't seem to be. They were looking at buying Voyager. They very briefly looked at buying Celsius, and then they walked away from that and had said nothing else about it. So if they're willing to buy Voyager, but they're not willing to buy Celsius, that tells me that Celsius, that's burned. That deal is done. But what about Crypto.com? Crypto.com I believe it was 2 days ago. I think it came out either on Thursday or Friday, either the 30th or 1st. They sent out their email saying, oh, well, we've got to limit our withdrawals to $3,000 per day, 5 transactions per day, whatever it was. I can't remember if it was 25 or 30 transactions a week or a month, and a maximum of 30,000 per month. Well, let me think back here. Voyager, a couple months ago, what did they do? Let me think. Yep, that's right. They started limiting withdrawals. Something doesn't smell right there. So now Crypto.com is doing the same thing. Crypto.com also started cutting a bunch of their earnings, a bunch of their rewards. Has anybody else done that? Let me think about that. Oh yeah, that would have been Celsius that started cutting their rewards. Matter of fact, they went through and they didn't allow any trading with any U.S. They wouldn't allow any U.S. customers to earn any of those rewards going forward. And I believe that hit back in April. So, man, I got to tell you, I think Craig was right. I think Crypto.com may be in bigger trouble than we thought. Now I haven't heard anything with that. I did get a text last night through one of my contacts that's been in this industry far longer than I have. He's been in it since the beginning. He's got a lot of ties throughout the industry. And he's starting to hear some rumors about KuCoin, and that KuCoin may also be in trouble. Now, for me, I haven't seen any of the red flags. They're still putting out the full rewards. I haven't seen any cutbacks. I haven't seen anything from them that leads me to believe that that's anything other than a rumor at this point. But the Crypto.com one, man, I got to tell you, that definitely starts making me nervous. Anytime they start limiting withdrawals, that's one of the things that starts making me question how healthy they really are. So for me, I'm looking to definitely make sure that I don't have anything out on any of the platforms that I can't withstand if something were to kind of go sideways. But like I said the other day, I really believe that there's more to it. And more of these platforms, we're going to start seeing some pain with these. So kudos to Craig. He nailed it last week on the health of Crypto.com. I think he's right. I think they could be in a little bit more trouble than what was previously stated by them. So as far as market news goes, specifically with Bitcoin, hey, if you're not watching the end of the month and what happens at the end of the month when you're looking to make your trade, you're missing out. June the 30th leading into July the 1st, what happened? We had a pretty good rip from Bitcoin, which brought the rest of that market up. Was that an attempt to squeeze out some of those shorts? Was somebody liquidity hunting there? Or was it just a whale that's trying to manipulate the market and manipulate the end of month close? Who knows? But I'll tell you that one of the things when I'm looking at making my trades that I'll look at is where are we in the time frame? I don't just look at all the news that's out there, but it does go into my decision-making process. But where are we in the time frame? End of the month, the beginning of the month, all of those definitely have an effect on the market. So if you're not looking at that where you are in time and space, when you're making your decisions, you're missing out a little bit. Anyways, maybe it was Sailor. He mentioned that he was looking at buying the dip. What about El Salvador? They went ahead and reloaded. So that is maybe some of these other guys saw that coming as well. Maybe that was part of it. All right, moving on. So let's talk a little bit about the game, the challenge. So I did go in on Solana with a short. Like I said, I was going to. I was looking at anywhere under 34 on that daily close. It did. I got in at 33.58 and at 32.89. I went in on a total was 7x leverage on my 100, roughly 4.1%. I clipped it for $31, so that's roughly a 30% increase on my $100. I went in on Wednesday, reloaded again on Thursday, and by Friday I exited and was up 30%, not too shabby. Went ahead and went in again on Friday night and got back out on Saturday on another trade, trying to work that channel. I went in at 33.12 and again at 33.87, and clipped it for 21.69, roughly 4x on my 100. But at this point, where I'm at, I'm up $53 and a little bit of change. We'll chalk that over to paying for some of my trading fees, but we'll call it $53. So roughly up 50% in less than a week. Now going forward on Solana, I don't know if it's going to stay in this channel or not. It's usually on the long weekends, it can get a little bit hairy. I hope that it stays in this channel and continues to work in there. I'll keep sliding in a little bit if it looks right. I'm looking for those little double tops, trying to hit those. It doesn't have to have a big movement in there with my leverage. But the benefit now is I'm leveraging 150 instead of 100. So I can have a little less risk with my leverage versus what I did when I was starting with 100. So that's really what I'm looking to do with this. I'm still watching Luna C. That was one of the ones that Craig brought up the other day on the Would You Rather portion of the podcast. But that is definitely one that I'm looking at as well. I don't see a whole lot in Bitcoin or Ethereum that really is blowing my skirt up right now. Not quite volatile enough for me. Cardona, it's kind of the same. Nothing that I'm seeing really right there. Avalanche looks okay, but nothing's real surprising. What else we got? I think, USTC, it's up quite a bit. It's up a little over 6 cents right now, roughly 50%. I'm looking on 15-minute candles. It's possible. 1 hour. If it got close to that 7 cents again on the 1 hour, I think I could take that. Looks like right now, the bottoms around that Bollinger Band. It's kind of a tight squeeze right now over the last, 10 hours or so. That's possible. That may be a good one if the market starts turning down to get into for a short. So that's definitely another one that I'm looking at, around 7 cents to short. And again, Luna Classic, I'd say around 14 and a half would be the range I'm looking at there. As far as the pullback from that, where I'd be looking for my exit would be around 12 and a half, 12.4, 12.4. Yeah, that's what I'd be looking at with that. And I'll go ahead and kick you on the USTC as well for my exit point for it. I'd go 4.9, 4.9 cents. If I get in at 7 and get out 4.9, that'd be a pretty hefty click. So that's what I'm looking at going forward through the rest of the weekend. If anything else gets crazy and kicks off over the weekend, then I will definitely see if I can't get back to you. Maybe bring y'all something special on the 4th of July. Other than that, hey, everybody stay safe out there. Have a wonderful 4th. Watch your money on these platforms. Keep it safe. And thanks for listening to Crypto BS.